Good evening, and what is up, Razorback Nation and Razorback family? It is finally Arkansas game week. We talked about that Sunday. Tonight, we're going to dive into the game a little bit further. But before we do, we got to thank our lovely sponsors over at Razor Pigs. Looking good never felt so fun. Razor Pigs is the Arkansas-born brand, bringing some serious style to the golf course, tailgate, and everywhere in between. From some high-quality polos to head-turning hats, they've got what you need to rep the natural state with pride. Find it right here at home. And now run by a Razorback loving family. Razor Pigs is where comfort meets cool. So go hog wild and shop Razor Pigs today at razorpigs.us. Fellas, it is game week. We talked a little bit on Sunday, but it is Thursday. We're 2 days away from opening kickoff from Arkansas versus Alabama A&M to get this 2025 season underway. How are we feeling?
It's about time. I'm ready for it. No, you don't even know. Like, it's just been like, it's like an itch you can't scratch that I've had for like 8 months. And it's just going to feel so good.
Yeah, it'll be good to finally see the team on the field and get some kind of faces to the names. Not necessarily faces, but you know what I mean. Get to see these players for the first time in a Razorback jersey and see what they can do. Hoping for a big time blowout so that we can see everybody, which I think we'll get.
Yeah, and that's what I was going to say too. It'll be good to see some of these guys that transferred in, the names that we're not as familiar with. Some of those guys that work their way up the depth chart, and some of the skill position guys, maybe some of those guys on the defensive side of the ball that had high expectations transferring in, and kind of get to see their game on the field and what they were expected to do for this team. So before we dive into our breakdown of this first game, your Arkansas soccer team is in a matchup with number 1 Duke, and it is in the second half, and Duke is up 1-0 on Arkansas. So hopefully they can at least tie it or pull it out. We'll see what happens there. We'll keep you guys up to date on that. But as we kind of go into this, I wanted to ask your guys' opinions on something, and we'll talk a little bit more about it when we dive into. But it came out earlier this week that Coach Petrino, he's going to start the season coaching from the box. What's your initial thoughts on that? How's that make you feel? I mean, historically, knowing how Bobby Petrino is from his past time in Arkansas, kind of how he is as an offensive coordinator, kind of likes to get fired up and work with the quarterbacks and very closely on the sidelines. To this year switching to starting in the booth. What's our thoughts on that? How you feel? Will that make a big difference this year with Talon, with him being a returner and, knowing the offense a little bit more? You think that kind of helped ease that decision?
I think it has less to do with like what he thinks is best versus how confident he is in Talon Green. If he weren't as confident as he is, he wouldn't be up there. Whenever he is up there, he can still see the field a lot better. He can see the defense a lot better. He can see what's working. And that may mean that he has a better idea of how he wants to go and call plays throughout the game. So I like it that he's up there. As far as coaching on the field, I think that just shows how confident he is in Talon Green, because he doesn't think he has to be down there to see him eye to eye and make that connection using the phone or however they converse now. I don't know if they have the phone or if it's just through the headpiece or the earpiece. I think it's a good look. I mean, you see how everybody else talks about Talon Green in the press conferences and everything like that. I think that if the coaches are also feeling that same way, that's a good sign. Now, if he's having trouble with some stuff, it's just an elevator ride down. So it's not a big deal that he's up there. If they need to change it, they can. And they can change it at halftime. It's not I don't know. I think that a lot of people are making a bigger deal out of it than what it should be. But the one thing it does is just show the confidence he has in his quarterback.
Yeah, I mean, I think people make a big deal out about everything. Any little change, minute change. Oh my God, this means that. This means this. This is actually a good thing. I mean, most offensive coordinators are in the booth. NFL, college, I mean, you see them in the booth. Even some high school, you got guys upstairs calling in stuff from down low, from up above. So, I mean, it's not something that's out of ordinary. And like you said, you can see the field better in the booth. And he's not the head coach, people. He's not the head coach. He is strictly to focus on the offense and calling plays. So it's good that he's down there, so I mean up there. So yeah, I don't have an issue with it. So we'll see how it goes. I fully expect this offense is going to be top 10, top 20 in the nation once again.
Yeah. I think that's one thing, that Pittman in his presser this week kind of left that open-ended too, is that, that's how we're going to start the season, and like both of you guys said, if stuff isn't going the right way, it's a quick ride down to either the locker room or field, whatever it may be. And the reason I was thinking about that too is if you think historically, Bobby Petrino, whether he's the head coach or offense coordinator, if you mess up, it's going to be a little bit different than him being on the sideline and kind of getting in your face and being, yes, he's mellowed out a little bit, that they've said over the years, but still, I mean, you saw him a few times last year get a little, intense on the sideline. So, I think that's going to be a different perspective, but you
can still do that on the phone though. Like,
yeah,
I mean, you can still like, hey, where did you see it right there? Who are you throwing to right there? I mean, you can still do that on the phone.
Right. It's just not going to be the same style of,
Right.
if he's right there looking you in the eyes being like, all right, hey, what are we doing here? So, but yeah, I don't think it's a bad idea. Like you guys said, I like the idea of him being, kind of having that bird's eye view, kind of seeing what the defense is doing. Are they, putting more people in the box, putting more pressure on? Are they kind of running man on their receivers? Are they, dropping back into coverage? It gives you a better idea from kind of seeing it just from the sideline, a flat angle. It gives you a better view. So that way he can, even help communicate to Talon up, pre-snap, up until, I think it's like 15 seconds on the play clock. He can talk to him through the earpiece now. So if he sees some shifts or changes in defense, he can, essentially radio that down and be like, hey, this X linebacker, this DB shifted or whatever it be me. So keep an eye out for that, whatever it may be. So, I think it could be good for this team. I think either way, it just kind of gives you more confidence in Talon Green with him being back and the trust that he has to run this offense and just take care of business. So, like you said, my wife jumps in and says, so I agree. It's not out of the ordinary for the offense coordinator to be in the box, but it is out of the ordinary for Bobby Petrino. Agreed. Historically, we've not seen that. So, yes, but it's going to be an interesting.
Also, I think historically you haven't seen it because most of the time he's been a head coach. So, and head coaches don't coach from the box, right? And then whenever he was an offensive coordinator for big teams like Texas A&M and stuff like that, and then Arkansas last year, he had first-year quarterbacks. Or quarterbacks that he may not be as comfortable with, leaving them on the sideline by themselves. So I think that's probably why people haven't seen him,
Right.
up there. But yeah, just putting that clarification on there.
Well, and then when he was at Texas A&M too, I don't think that was a choice of his. I think that was a Jimbo Fisher saying, hey, get up in the booth.
Well, yeah, probably. Jimbo Fisher had a death grip on everything in that program, so
Fair
doesn't surprise me.
So, but yeah, it's going to be interesting to see, like we said, open-ended. That's how we're beginning the season. And so let's jump into, this first depth chart that was released, earlier this week. We kind of have an idea, you're going to see mostly everybody's going to play in this game, but, those guys that, will trot out there with the ones. Pittman did say midweek that there was still a couple more position battles, if you will, that's going to be determined. But, we'll go down the list here, starting at the X receiver, Omega Blake, no surprises there. Monte Harrison and Jacaden Ferguson are the three deep there on there at that position. At the W wide receiver, you got CJ Brown getting the start there. Raylan Sharp, Cam Shanks as, the 2 and 3 deep. No surprise with Raylan Sharp kind of, coming off that injury, not getting the start right away. And then you've got an or there between him and Cam Shanks. Those guys are going to be essentially interchangeable this season. You jump down to left tackle, Corey Robinson, no surprise. Backing him up, you got Kavian Broussard, the transfer from Ole Miss. Left guard, Fernando Carmona, no surprise again. Backing him up is true freshman Blake Cherry. And then center, Caden Kittler. Again, we expected that. Backing him up, Cash Courtney, the freshman. And then behind him, Brooks Edmondson, the redshirt junior that started in the bowl game. At your right guard, Kobe Branham or Marion Harris. So they're going to have Marion Harris get some run at the right guard spot as well. And then behind them two is Marcus Dummerville, another one of those transfers. Starting at right tackle, Marion Harris or Shaq McCroy. So you're going to see kind of that right side be interchanged during this game, kind of see who gels together, who fits best where, who performs well. And then, of course, Taylor Green's your starting quarterback with KJ Jackson backing him up. And Trevor Jackson, the transfer from Florida State, at that 3 spot. And then Grayson Wilson as your 4th string quarterback. Running backs, you got Malik Washington getting the start with Braylon Russell backing him up and Rodney Hill and AJ Green as well. So you'll probably see a mix of those guys, just how we tend to use running backs. Fullback spot, the handy Swiss Army knife Maddox Laster getting the start at fullback. At the H tight end spot, Rohan Jones. At the Y tight end spot, Andreas Puska or Jaden Platt. That Z wide receiver is going to be Jalen Brown, guy that, transferred in late, didn't get a lot of talk about until just here recently. And the reason Pittman mentioned that is his speed. He's wanting to get that speed on the field. Backing him up is Andy Jean or Courtney Crutchfield. So just thoughts on that opening weekend depth chart for the offense.
I meant to send y'all this video, but I saw it late at night. Forgot to send it. Came across this video on YouTube, and it's a guy that predicted some tight end nobody was talking about. A couple years ago, he was ranked like 1,000 and the nation's 60-something tight ends, and nobody was looking at him. And now he's playing in the NFL. I can't remember exactly who it is, but this same guy did a breakdown on who he thinks the tight end that's sneaky good that nobody's looking at, and he said he made a video about Rohan Jones. So we may have something there. So I'm interested to see what he looks like. I know it wasn't, it was only Montana State or whatnot, but we may have something there. So that's what my thoughts jump out just because I saw that video and I can't wait to see him in a Razorback jersey. So I'm just saying that, this guy got the last one right. So we'll see. Hopefully he's right.
Yeah. I think the biggest question, I don't want to say question mark, surprises. And really, I don't think they're huge surprises with context, is that one, that Jalen Brown is starting. It's surprising because, like you said, he got here late. So not only does it mean, he's got the skills to start for an SEC team. We already knew that because he's played for LSU and Florida State, and he was, highly ranked out of high school. But at the same time, he came in here and learned enough of Bobby Petrino's offense to get the start over guys who have been here all summer or the last 2 years, or last year and this year. So that's really a good sign, in my opinion, that he's kind of clinched that spot up, and there's, a battle for that backup position. The second one had to do with there not being Anthony Jordan on it at all. And obviously he's hurt. So I think that's probably the reason why he isn't on it at all. And then again, he is a true freshman, but there's Ja'Caden Ferguson, who is backing up for Omega Blake. So it's a little bit strange seeing that compared to what you heard at a camp and whatnot. But I really do think it's probably because of that sprain. I still think we'll see some Anthony Jordan a little bit. other than that, it's kind of boilerplate. We kind of knew what was going to happen with, Mike Washington kind of still in that spot at running back. And we knew, obviously, quarterback. And we've been talking about the offensive line this entire time. So everything else offensively is kind of just, what we've been talking about.
Right. And that's good to see that, for the most part, the guys that we thought were going to be there are there. And I'm glad to see them putting emphasis on kind of getting some speed out there. We had some speed guys last year that maybe didn't get utilized as much, thinking about a guy like Jordan Anthony, that's now running track professionally, a guy that's, was super fast. He had one big, huge catch in the Mississippi State game, but you didn't really see much after him. Now they're putting some emphasis on getting some speed out there. Hopefully maybe to not necessarily to substitute any weakness, but, against maybe some of these bigger corners that you're going to see in the SEC, they're a little bit bigger, but maybe they aren't as quick-footed as a guy like Jaylen Brown, and that way maybe you can beat some guys off the line and be able to take some deep shots. And I think that's part of it too is, you got a speed guy, you send him on a deep route and, let Talon show off his arm. I know that's a big part of Talon's game. He likes that deep ball. And so, I think that's a very, very much part of what went into this decision as well. But on top of, you're going to see how guys perform. It's like we've talked about before, and you've heard the saying, guys may practice well but not play well in the game, but then don't practice too great, but then they get in the game and they do well. I think Hobbs said before, sometimes guys are just gamers, and once you get in that game time situation, something just clicks and everything makes sense and you perform a lot better.
Yeah, I think that's probably true. But at the same time, this is why you have these cupcakes at the beginning of the season, right? You go in there and you bang out all the questions that you have with your roster. Right. Because I don't care how set in stone it is, it's going to be different once you hit that field.
Right.
And you're going to have different opinions once that finishes up that first game. And the good thing is that you get to experiment with these things against a cupcake instead of, like LSU playing Clemson right off the bat or Texas playing Ohio State right off the bat. They got to know like before that game because if you lose it, it could hurt you. Not as much anymore now that we have the college football playoffs, but still.
Right. And good and well, as much as he got hyped in fall camp, you're going to see plenty of Monte Harrison too. He's at he's at the backup of that X spot behind Omega Blake, but the way they raved and how he performed at camp, he's going to get some run there. I think you have the depth to keep your wide receivers fresh, and that's going to be beneficial. And of course, once you get later in the season, you kind of want those key guys in the game. But to your point, it'll be fun to play with these first few games before you kind of get into one of the key games in week 3 against Ole Miss. So it's going to be interesting to see. I think there's some more surprises though if you look at it on the defensive side of the ball, and we'll jump over there now. So on the defensive side of the ball, starting at 1-year defensive ends is Quincy Rhodes. No surprise there. Backing him up, Charlie Collins and Frank Mulapola. Starting at the defensive tackle spot, Cam Ball. And then surprising here for me is the guy that just moved over there. Keyshawn Blackstock is, backing up Cam Ball at the defensive tackle spot. And then Kevin Otis, the freshman, at the 3 deep there. Your other defensive tackle, Ian Giffard, getting the start there. Another young talent that we talked about with Danny Solly. Backing him up, a guy that Pittman really liked his development over the spring and into fall camp. Starting at the other defensive end is Justin Boone or Phillip Lee, 2 guys that we talked about transferred in, wearing those single-digit numbers, 0 and 1. Justin Boone, the transfer from Florida, Phillip Lee, the transfer from Troy. 2 guys that have the potential to be key pieces on this defense. And then Kavion Henderson backing those guys up. At your linebacker spot, Steven Dix Jr. getting the start at 1 spot with Bradley Shaw backing him up, and Wyatt Simmons or Andrew Harris at the 3 deep. Your other linebacker starting, Xavier Sorey with Trent Whalen backing him up, and true freshman Tavian Wallace at the 3 deep on that. Jumping into your secondary, one of your starting DBs is going to be Julian Neal. We kind of talked about it, came into camp late, dealt with some injuries, but, at least for this game, is in a starting spot with Selman Bridges or Keyshawn Davila backing him up. At your safety spot, Miguel Mitchell or Caleb Wooden. We'll probably see both those guys, or a mixture. At the other safety, Larry Worth with Quintavious Scandrett backing him up. At your other cornerback spot, Kunai Walker, with the surprise for me, Jaheim Singletary, the backup in this game, the second string, if you will. Guy that we talked about hopefully would make the next step, but at least for game one, he's listed as second string on that roster. And then at your nickel spot, Jordan Young getting the start there, the transfer from Cincinnati, with Shakur Smalls backing him up.
Yeah, I think that's probably the biggest surprise for me on the defense. Everything else was pretty much where I thought it would be, except obviously, Keyshawn Blacksock. If you'd have said that like 3 weeks ago, hey, he's going to be your backup D tackle, I've been like, okay. It is a little weird that he is the backup, but you got to understand they don't really have a whole lot of depth, and
Right.
I think he's got the strength and the athletic ability to be a good backup there, especially when you don't have much to work with. So we'll see how that works out. But like you were saying, the biggest surprise on the defense for me is having Selman Bridges and Jaheim Singletary not starting, at least at one, and having newcomers come in and take those spots from them. I still think they'll play a lot because, it's the corner position, so you're going to have some guys. There's not a whole lot of people out there like Dwight McLaughlin who can go out there and play every single snap, So we'll see what it looks like, but I doubt that they will be on the sideline a whole lot, especially in this game. You'll kind of get to see how they've progressed. I know that Jaheim Singletary's kind of, from what I've heard, he's done a little bit better, but it sounds like Selman Bridges has kind of had a tough fall camp. So we'll have to. I think this is a big game for him. If he can go out there and show his stuff, then he's gonna put in a little bit more of a fight against Julian Neal, which I doubt he'll get that starting position throughout the season unless Julian is injured. But still having that fight and making each other better, that's what you need. But yeah, I thought that was probably the weirdest thing. Expected, but weird, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, Singletary and Bridges, they're definitely, that is a surprise that they're not 1 and 2 together. But, hey, look, I'm okay with any changes needed to a secondary that finished 110th against the pass last year. So, please finish at least in the 50s or 60s. You got to be at least better than that. Because if that's the case, it's going to be a long year.
100% agree there. Yeah, and we haven't played it at snap this season, but it's getting to that point where I think a lot of people might be willing to start kind of labeling Jaheim Singletary a bust in terms of, a really high talent that came over from Georgia and then hasn't really done anything since he's been here. And, I hate to say that, but, it's – if you're getting beat up by a guy that transfers in, you've been in this system for 2 years now already. Like, what is it? Or maybe it's nothing because this is the week 1 depth chart. Maybe there's playing around with different guys and different combinations. That's probably what you're going to see all game long. Like you guys said, these guys probably are not going to be on the sidelines much. They're going to be rotating in and out, playing different positions, seeing different combinations of guys and kind of which one works out best. But at the end of the day, not too many surprises there. I love the fact that our 2 starting defensive tackles, 323 and 387 respectively up front. So gives you some good size there. like we've established, depth is the concern there. So hopefully, that second and third layers of your defense can kind of really help you out there in case your front four there start to struggle. So diving into special teams, no surprises here. Scott Starzik getting their start at the kicker with Blake Ford backing him up. And then at the punter position, Devin Bale, no surprise there. Freshman Gavin Rush backing him up. Kickoff specialist, Blake Ford getting the opportunity for kickoffs. Long snapper, Ashton No, who kind of took over that position late in the year last year and performed really well. He's backed up by Zach Haber, redshirt sophomore. The holder for extra points field goals will be Devin Bale with Gavin Rush backing him up. At the kick returning spot, you got Rodney Hill and Markeelan Batten. So redshirt junior with Rodney Hill. He's your speedy back. And then you've got true freshman Markeelan Batten, the other kick returner spot. And then no surprise, punt returner, you got Cam Shanks backed up by Raylan Sharp. So no surprises really on the special teams. The only surprise I would say is I'm surprised to not see Cam Shanks under the kick return, and just listed the punt return. But, maybe that's, from a standpoint of easing him back in because, we heard him talk that he was injured some during camp. So maybe not putting too much on him. But, if he's dangerous as what we've talked about, and if he can perform that way, there at some point you might move him back there.
Yeah, that's probably what it is. And at the same time, you don't want him, like, he came here because he was a great punt returner. And whenever you have guys that are kicking off the back of the end zone all the time, putting him out there, to me, it feels more or less like just a hazard, like unnecessarily putting him out there for more plays than he needs to be out there. So that's probably what it is. And they usually do have a different guy doing kickoff and punt return,
right?
Especially if they're both on offense. It'll wear them out pretty good. So
I did find that YouTube video I was talking to you about. Guy's name is ProDraftScouting_Luigi. And if you even type in Rohan Jones on YouTube, you can find the video pretty quick. But it's a nice little short 5-minute video. And apparently he does for every position who he thinks could be the next NFL player. So that's not really being talked about. It's pretty cool to see one of our players out there being talked about like that. But no surprise who the kicker is. I'm interested to see, if they're going to let him kick a little bit Saturday. So hopefully, he's kicking. I know he's going to kick a lot of extra points to kick. But we'll see about field goal attempts.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's like I don't know how much you're going to see us attempt field goals in this game. You really shouldn't be attempting field goals in this game. Now, if you happen to Alabama A&M works to get you in a spot where, hey, we're up by 21, 14, 21. Let's run Starzik out there and let him get some field goals under his belt. But yeah, like you said, Hobbs, I don't see in a place where we're kicking too many field goals on Saturday. Plenty of extra points.
Not much either,
Exactly. I know Devin Bale would love to get out there and boot some punts, but not in this one, buddy. Sorry.
Yeah. It should. I don't think it'll be like it was last year against UAPB. That was kind of, going 10 drives and 10 touchdowns. That's not something a lot of teams do. It's a pretty incredible feat, to be honest. I don't care who you're playing against. And I don't think we'll have that this time. You know what? I'm not entirely sure that this defense is going to be able to stop UAM or Alabama A&M from scoring at least once, whether it's, I said University of Arkansas Monticello. That's funny. They're not going to be able to keep them from scoring. I don't think. They just I don't know. I'm just not really sure about this defense. And if they prove me wrong, they prove me wrong. But it'll be I don't know. I think the offense is going to be the show this year, if that makes sense. So we'll see. But yeah.
Yeah, it's like we talked about. I think this year you might see a little bit of the type of team you saw back in the Petrino head coach era, where you'll see our offense try to outscore guys, and then the defense hold its own, or maybe come up with one or two big stops. And this game is an asterisk there because it's not that type of game. But
Right.
when you talk about getting in the regular season, that might be honestly what we're looking at this year. And I wouldn't be surprised at all if we see that, just with the concerns from the defensive line perspective. And we don't know really what you're going to get out of the secondary. You've got your experienced linebackers with Xavier Story and Steven Dix, but like we talked about, that secondary, most of what we listed off on that depth chart, getting the start there, is really all newcomers with a handful of returnees sprinkled in there.
Yeah, and I really do. I just think they're going to have to outscore some people this year. And the good thing is, I mean, you hear people are talking about from camp, they have the weapons on the outside, and they got a good quarterback. As long as the offensive line holds up, they may be able to do that. Now, I'm not saying they're going to go out and win like 19 games, right? My official prediction has been 7 wins this entire time, and I'm being a little bit optimistic there. But at the same time, if Arkansas's defense, like you said, if they can hold up like 1 or 2 drives, that's I feel like that may be all you need. And as long as Arkansas goes out there and holds on to the ball and, executes, we may have a couple upsets. But at the same time, it's Arkansas, they the Hogs going to hog. They're going to drop at least one game they shouldn't. That's just how it is. So,
yeah. And that's what is interesting to think about too, is like what game is going to be that game. And my other concern too, thinking about it, is this offense going to be one of those that we score pretty quickly and your defense doesn't get much rest on the sideline? Is that any concern? Like if this is going to be such a potent offense that we're going to see, could we, go down and boom, 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 score in 3 plays and your defense is right back up on the field?
Man, it's not necessarily a bad thing for us to score that quick. I mean, especially with the red zone woos last year. And I think that's probably one of the reasons Bobby's up there in the press box to try to fix the red zone offense too. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know. We'll see. I mean, it obviously doesn't help your defense whenever they're right back on the field, but I think it's more going to be on this defense, the way I've been hearing, is going to try to cause havoc and turnovers with that zero blitz mentality. I don't know if they'll do it so much in the first 2 games, but they're going to definitely have to do something in game 3 to cause some havoc. So, yeah, it's one of them things where I think this defense is going to be not necessarily bend but don't break, but just let's blitz the quarterback. Let's try to get to the quarterback, call some turnovers, quick throws, and it puts the pressure on the quarterback. So I don't know. So, but the offense scoring in 3 plays, I mean, I'll take that every day of the week.
Yeah. That's my only concern is, if we are, that lack of depth at the D line, if these guys are having to come on and off consistently and, yes, we're going to rotate through these guys, but, that would be my only concern is, yeah, let's score all we can, but that's where those shootouts are going to occur. Your defense is going to be on the field a larger portion of the time, therefore they're going to get tired. So, yeah, I mean, and part of it too, we talked about with Petrino in the press box. One thing we didn't mention earlier is Pittman mentioned Petrino actually came to him it wasn't a Pittman thing saying, "Hey, go up in the press box." It was something that Petrino came to Pittman and said, "Hey, I want to go up and coach from the box this year, or at least start that way."
Yeah, and I think that's probably the best idea. It's just like Hobbs was saying earlier. Every offensive coordinator and most defensive coordinators coach from the box. It's because you can see it. It's a little bit easier, and I mean, we have a comment in here that the red zone issues are one of the reasons why. And you know what? I mean, that makes pretty good sense because Arkansas's red zone issues have been just kind of horrible. So having that bird's eye view of that is going to help a lot. So, yeah, I don't know. It's just like you said. I think it's kind of a lot out of nothing. But at the same time, yeah, I kind of lost my train of thought there. Hang on. But yeah,
I get what you're trying to say there. So it's going to be fun to see what this looks like this year. And like I said, we'll get a good eye of, what this offense is going to look like. How are they going to perform? Are we going to have an offense that is, one that's quick to score? Or can we have that offense where if we need to, can you have one of those long spread out drives where you're kind of just grinding, running the ball first, second, even third down, and just kind of milking that clock if it comes to that situation later on the season. And maybe we see some drives like that where they kind of put emphasis on, hey, yeah, we know we can score quick, but let's go ahead and see what we can do, run the ball, and kind of can have one of those drives where you just kind of run it down their throat, essentially.
Yeah, and you know what? That's where I was going with it. I was trying to tie it back into the Ole Miss game. If they can burn a little bit of clock, that's going to help a lot. I don't know if this offense is going to be made for that. Last year, they were one of the most explosive offenses in the country, and then they just kind of sucked when they got down to the red zone. So that's probably they probably need to get that figured out so they can keep those legs fresh for the defense, especially the defensive line. Having Griffard, he's an athlete. Let's not get that wrong. I love the story where he talks about he did a handstand, whenever he came on an official visit at 380 pounds. It's just kind of incredible what you can do like that.
Right.
At the same time, 380 pounds is 380 pounds. Running down the field and then off the field whenever you have to come off, I mean, it's going to wear on you. And only having 5 guys, and one of them's your backup, basically was your backup right guard. It's going to be a little bit dicey, especially when you go up against a team like Ole Miss. Now, here's the counter. If you have Ole Miss going out there and scoring in 3 plays and just make it like back and forth, haymakers on offense, then both are going to be fresh. So it just depends on how the other team plays at the same time. So I'm not super worried about Arkansas going down and scoring points as long as they score touchdowns, right? If they score field goals, we got a problem. If they can go in there and punch it in, I don't think it's going to be a problem.
Yeah.
Yeah, unfortunately, what we're talking about now won't be answered for probably a month from now, because the first 2 weeks, let's be real, are we going to really have many issues? We shouldn't have many issues the first 2 weeks, but the next 2 is where you got the road games that are a little bit, at Ole Miss, obviously, and at Memphis, which we shouldn't be playing, but they're coming off a 10-win season, and it's not going to be an easy game. So,
right. Regardless of Austin Simmons and a new starting quarterback, that Ole Miss game, you can't discount or count out Lane Kiffin at any means, but getting them early in the season and a new starting quarterback surely helps. And to your point, that Memphis game, that's one, don't get caught sleeping, if you will, but take care of business. Shouldn't be playing in Memphis, but it is what it is, and we got to do it. So just go and take care of business and get ready to come back home and play Notre Dame. But we talked about Arkansas, the depth chart. So let's jump over and talk about this team we're playing, Alabama A&M. They're small school coming in, but they have a lot of new faces, and it starts at the top. Brand new head coach for them and Sam Shade, who was at Miles College last season, taking over the Alabama A&M Bulldogs. And the one key thing that they got going for them is they don't have a new face at quarterback. So Cornelius Brown, he is a 7th-year quarterback entering his 3rd season with the Bulldogs. He started his college career at Georgia State, played there for 3 seasons, transferred to UT Martin, and then the past 2 seasons at Alabama A&M. You look at it, had 1,666 yards last season with 57.2% completion percentage, threw for 12 touchdowns, 7 interceptions, was sacked 11 times, had a quarterback rating of 131.8. So a guy that, he's 6'5", 210. So he kind of almost from a physical standpoint gives you Talon vibes as far as his size, weight, and, if you just look at his build. But, from a talent perspective, don't know where to go there. But, I mean, you look at, threw for over 1,600 yards, 12 touchdowns, but did have 7 interceptions. Your thoughts on, having an experienced quarterback coming in with this Alabama A&M team?
Well, yeah, whenever they talked to Shade on Monday, previewing this game, they talked about how many times that the Brown, right? Yeah, Cornelius Brown. How many times he's faced an SEC opponent in an SEC venue. So the nervousness you're not going to get from this guy. Now, like you said, the talent wise, we don't know. He's got, like you said, 6'5", 210. But he's just not super accurate. And, this is a completely new staff, so maybe they've been able to make a breakthrough with him. Highly doubt it. Being a 7th-year quarterback, he's out there like, what's his name? Van Wilder out there going 7 years in school. But at the same time, he's not going to be scared of going into Arkansas. He's been into, Jordan Hare, and last year they got their teeth kicked in, if you remember that, like 73-0 or something like that, or 73-3. And so I think Arkansas is going to get him on the talent level, but as far as like him making stupid mistakes, just like out of nervousness, that's not going to happen.
Yeah. I mean, you look at it, his best season he had in his 7-year career was in 2020, where he threw for over 2,200 yards, had 58.6% completion rate, threw for 17 touchdowns, still 10 interceptions, so fairly high interception rate there. And then also rushed 98 times for 301 yards and 7 touchdowns last season. Only rushed 49 times for 161 yards and 1 touchdown. So don't think you're going to have to worry about him too much on the ground, even though, like we mentioned, very similar build to Talon, but maybe not necessarily as athletic. But to Austin's point, he's experienced. He's been here before. I don't think he'll have some of the nerves as much as maybe some of the other guys. But, I mean, we talked about his stats last year didn't necessarily show he didn't run a ton, but it is a new offense, new system coming in. And he does have 4 new skill position players, but he does have Donovan Wright as the only returning target that has been in this system with him at Alabama A&M. And Donovan Wright, 6 foot, 176. He's a senior as well. Last season had 12 receptions for 216 yards and 2 touchdowns for Alabama A&M. Previously played at Eastern Michigan in 2020. So another guy that has been around a little bit, but he's their one returning skill guy on that offense. And so it's expected with their new offensive line, or not offensive line, but their offense coordinator that came over with Shade, that they're going to run a lot of no huddle and hurry up and try to tire out our defense. That's kind of the scouting report, if you will. And then their running game consists of stretch plays and zone run concepts. So things that, I think it'll be key for our linebackers to play well in this game against that run, those stretch plays and that zone concept.
Yeah, that's what you want to see. You want to see those older guys back there be disciplined with their eyes, and go where they need to go, not over pursue and stuff like that. At the same time, this entire game, whenever we come up to the SEC, the game's won in the trenches, and these FCS teams just don't have the talent there. And it's incredibly hard to get talent in the trenches. That's why Arkansas hasn't been super great on the offensive line for a while, because the transfer portal takes the ones that we have, and we haven't really even gone into the transfer portal until this year to really hit the offensive line hard. And I think they pulled in some good guys. I'm not going to lie to you. I think they're going to be pretty decent. But at the same time, we were talking about Ian Jaffard and Cam Ball and those defensive tackles. If they can tire those guys up and even out that difference in the trenches, their offense may have a little bit of an edge. At the same time, I don't think that they're going to be able to match up defensively with our offense. They just don't have the defensive line guys to met. And this isn't like this isn't trying to dog on these kids, right? It's just stating the facts. They just don't have that. And it doesn't mean they can't beat Arkansas either. Arkansas can go out there and shoot themselves in the foot, and they can take advantage of it.
They're not us. Not in a million years.
Knock on wood.
No, not them.
Still, at the same time, you just want to see a clean football game, and you don't want to see mistakes. That's what this entire game's about. And at the same time, I mean, you got to go in there. You got to start thinking like Nick Saban, where he treats every single one of these fools as, LSU or Auburn before they sucked.
Look, his Sam Pittman had some games where he should have won that he lost, sure. But this ain't Chad.
Oh, yeah. No. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying that's how I like whenever I was in football, that's how I looked at it.
Oh no, the guys will be fired up for sure.
Oh yeah. And that's the way they've got to look at it. They can't, like us, we can go in there and think about all of this as like, hey, they're gonna go in there and beat the crap out of them. At the same time, they can't think like that, because that's when you get mistakes. I still think they're gonna beat them by like 50 points. Let's not be wrong, but at the same time,
I'm glad you said that, because I'm looking at it right now. The spread is 46.5.
Oh, yeah.
Over under is 62.5. So you think we're going to cover that?
Oh, yeah. I do. Like, I'm not saying go and, hit the over on that or anything, but at the same time, I think they will. But that's a huge spread, to be honest with you. I would not be betting it. I don't, if it's more than like 40 points, I'm not betting on that spread. It's too much that can happen.
Hobbs, I'm with Austin here and my wife as well. Please, for the love of God, please knock on some wood.
Dude, knock on some wood.
I don't care. It is Arkansas.
I still blame you for the LSU loss in the College World Series. Okay,
I understand your frustration with losing games that we shouldn't lose. And if this was the World Series in baseball, sure, I would back up a little bit. But come on, man, this is Alabama A&M football, man. We're playing the School of the Blind. Like, hey. I mean, come on, man. We're about to wipe the floor with them.
I ain't saying we're not. Okay, I'm not saying we're not.
Hey,
I've written stuff over here.
If we don't somehow do that, and some kind of crazy thing happens and the world ends, the world will end if that happens.
Well,
so it's just not going to.
Hey, the other day we put out an article and I did the headline for it. And I was like, these are 3 reasons why Arkansas wipes the floor with Alabama A&M. I'm not saying they're not going to wipe the floor.
What were the 3 reasons?
I'm just, I don't remember off the top of my head. I can pull it up though. It wasn't my article. I just I did the headline for it.
Well, Austin's finding that. So yes, we talked about it. Predictions. Arkansas 55, Alabama A&M 3. We let them get 3. Consensus line, like you mentioned, Hobbs, Arkansas 46.5 favored. And then over under 61.5.
So you think they're going to go under that?
Look, here's the thing. If Arkansas's defense can hold them scoreless, they're going to go over. If Alabama A&M can go in there and score a touchdown, they're probably going to hit the under. That's all it is. If the defense can hold them scoreless, it'll be over.
I mean, you look at the past 3 years. Last season, 70-0 against UAPB. Season before that, 45-3, and then 56-13 against Western Carolina 3 years ago. So,
yeah. That's true.
Lonnie over here is saying 56-7, Hogs stomp them.
I like.
Hey, I mean, 56. I think that's a little bit low.
I'm going 63-0. That's what I'm going.
Because I think they'll probably do that. I think they'll. I don't think they'll run up the score, but they're going to go out there and they're going to run their offense with their backups because Pittman.
Yeah, because they did it last year. Yeah.
Yeah. And the thing is, Pittman has been saying, like, what do you call it? The reason why Malachi Singleton was so good against Tennessee and how they, went down and, scored that last touchdown is because he had that experience earlier in the season. So whenever you get those guys in there, just having them in the game isn't enough. You have to have them in the game and run your offense at the same time.
Yeah, and you also got to think about what other game are we going to get this opportunity to play your guys, your backups, really a significant amount of time? Maybe Arkansas State a little bit.
Yeah, maybe.
But this is it. So let's go all out.
I'm more over here with Fred's 66-10. That's more. I haven't put out my actual prediction yet, but it's going to be pretty close to that.
This is the show to do that.
No, I got a writing thing, so I got to make some money off of it.
Geez, you're writing things. So yeah, it should be a fun one. Should be all Arkansas on this one. Should get to see some guys like KJ Jackson, getting some run. Your backup wide receivers. Maybe we see some Antonio Jordan in this game, even though he has that sprain he's dealing with. Maybe he has enough to go. And who knows? Maybe we see a Scott Starzik field goal here and there. So,
all right, you can't make your score prediction, but I want to hear from each of y'all, and I'll give you mine. Who has the biggest day? Like who has puts up the most stats? Like we can go skill position. You can even say Taylor Green if you want, I guess. Of course, he's going to put some numbers up, but who's the guy, running back, receiver, tight end maybe, who gets the multiple touchdowns or big time yards? Who you think?
Mike Washington.
Go ahead.
Beat you.
Like that one.
Mike Washington. I mean, like the dude has been a beast, and he's been doing it against Arkansas's best number one offense, right? He's taken like 60-yarders, 70-yarders to the house. I think he had a 90-yarder. It's going to be Mike Washington. I think the dude's a dog. So we'll see. I think he'll be the star of the show, though.
I was about to say, I was going to say, give me Taylor Green throws for 350 and 4 touchdowns and adds
before
75
halftime.
Adds 75 on the ground.
You might be right because I don't think he's playing in the second half. It's gonna be that bad right away. So now I do like those predictions. I'm right there with you with Mike Washington. I think he's going to go off. Probably have all running backs do really well. I think Taylor Green's going to bust a big run, maybe 70, 80 yards. I don't think they're going to be able to stop him. But receiving wise, I like Rohan Jones, just a guy I've been talking about. I mean, I like him to be a big time go-to guy like Armstrong was last year. I think he is going to be a big time factor for us this year.
Yeah. Looks like we have a resident Alabama A&M fan jumping in the chat here saying go Bulldogs #AAMU. And she said 350, you must think my defense is trash. Not saying the defense is trash, just that there is a difference in the level of talent between the two schools.
Yeah, I mean, they're picked
These
to
can still be fantastic players, but at the end of the day, it's still, as much as we haven't had the success, Arkansas and is still in the SEC caliber talent.
Right. And this is a SWAC team that is middle of the road, picked to finish 7th out of 12. This isn't Jackson State or Florida A&M in that conference. This is about to be a slaughter from the get-go.
Yeah. I'm not gonna. I don't know if I can say anything.
Did you study the roster? Is my only question.
What is there to
the
study?
offense, not necessarily the defense. So,
yeah, I'll be honest. If they didn't have any major changes from last year on the defense, which I don't think they did, then it don't matter. Because I mean, look at what Auburn did to Alabama A&M last year. I mean, I ain't about to get in arguments about this,
offense.
But it's just a difference. It's like saying, "Hey, what happens?" Well, you know what? What's it called? If Kansas City went and played, who's got the best defense right now? Let's say they go.
Maybe.
Did you say LSU?
No. You said Kansas City, and I'm thinking NFL right now. And you said best defense. I'm thinking
I mean best defense in college right now.
Oh gosh,
probably okay. Like Oklahoma, not Oklahoma State, Ohio State. Say KC went and played Ohio State and just destroyed them. Like put up 70 points on Ohio State. It's not because Ohio State's defense isn't bad. It's just they're two different levels, right? That's what it is.
Speaking of Ohio State, that's going to be even though neither those two schools I could care less for.
We're going to get there in a minute, Hobbs.
Okay.
You can let us know your frustrations and carelessness in a minute. But before we jump into talking some pick'ems and some line, some odds and betting lines here in a minute, if you're not making it out to the game on Saturday and need a spot to watch it, head over to our friends over at Parker's Sports Grill in Fayetteville. The ultimate spot for Razorback fans, whether it's game day or just a night out. Parker's has you covered with mouth-watering burgers, wings, ice-cold drinks served up in a true sports atmosphere. TVs on every wall. You won't miss a single play while you're there cheering on the Hogs. So grab your crew, head down to Parker's Sports Grill, and make it your go-to spot for food, fun, and Razorback sports. That's Parker's Sports Grill, where Fayetteville comes to eat, drink, and call the Hogs. Goes tell them Hogs on the Hill sent you, and have a good time. And with that, we'll jump over into some college pick'em. I figured this year we're going to go through, do the ESPN pick'em, go through, and at the end of the year, see who can pick college games the best. Who's the best ball knower, if you will, between the three of us.
Okay,
so,
just because I suck at these doesn't mean I don't know ball, okay? This is why I don't bet.
Are we just picking who wins, or are we picking okay.
Or the money line or over under?
Just flat out win.
Okay. That might be easy.
So, first matchup is, of course, one of the big primetime games on Saturday. Ohio State, Texas. Texas at Ohio State at the Horseshoe. Who wins?
Yeah, to start off with a hard one.
Yes.
Well,
Yeah, at Ohio State. I don't know. Like I think Texas is legit. At the same time, I just don't know how Arch is going to play in that first game. I'm going to say Texas. I think it'll probably be pretty close, but I don't know. I think that one's pretty. You started off with a hard one.
Yeah. So for me, you just have to kind of look at Ohio State. The quarterback is supposed to be good this year. They still got Jeremiah Smith back. They lost their running back to the NFL, who I guess is not going to be playing anytime soon with his situation, Judkins. But, I mean, they're coming off winning the national championship. They're at home. So all things point Ohio State. But I have to go with what Arch Manning. I've heard nothing about him for years. About this is the guy. He's the next Manning. He looked good in a little bit that we've seen from him. Was it against great teams? No, but I've got to go with Arch Manning and in Texas in this one.
Okay. And you said who, Austin?
Said Texas.
Okay. I'll be the outlier here. Give me Ohio State in this one. As much as I hate to say that, I can't say go Texas either. That's just hard against my nature. And even Fred over here says Texas. He's a ball knower, so listen to Fred. So, but I'm going to go with Ohio State anyway, just because, I don't know. It's at Ohio State. It's in the shoe. Arch Manning gets the start. All right, time to prove your talent on the road in a big-time game to open the season.
Is there odds for a meteor strike hitting the stadium? Because I'd like to bet on that one.
Oh, boy, that's crazy.
I'd have to look that up. But moving on, we go from a super hard game to a game that is not as notoriety worthy, is Northwestern playing Tulane.
That is, I'm going to say Tulane.
Oh, man. Where's the game at?
It don't matter. Northwestern sucks, dude.
It's in Tulane.
So Tulane, at least Tulane's got that SEC pedigree behind them. You know what I'm saying? From like 100 years ago. No, I'm just kidding. But Tulane actually hasn't been a bad school in the last few years. So, and Northwestern's just been sucky. All I know is that whenever Tulane does pull out this upset, I'm going to laugh at all those Big Ten people who are like, the SEC only plays 8 SEC games and they're over here playing 10 or whatever, and they can't even beat Tulane. So,
yeah. So the only thing that I can tell you about these two schools is I've heard good things about Tulane's quarterback. So I have to give them the edge just because of that. So, I mean, yeah. So, but I'm with Austin. Northwestern, I mean, they have not been good in a while. And so they're just kind of I don't know if you can compare them to maybe Mississippi State here in the SEC, maybe. So,
yeah.
Yeah. And then Rutgers is like the Big Ten's Vandy.
Yeah.
Except they're better than Vandy usually. Not this year. Vandy's pretty good this year.
I was about to say, yeah, and I'll take Tulane as well. The spread is Tulane by 4.5 with over under of 45.5. So Tulane across the board here. So moving on, you have UTEP taking on Utah State. The Miners taking on the Aggies in Utah. So it is a road game for UTEP.
Talk about Jesus. You're making us look like non-ball knowers because I don't know anything about these teams. This is going to be, I'd probably say UTEP or Utah State. Utah State is just the biggest school, so I'm going to go with them.
You said you're going Utah State?
Yeah. Bro, it is a coin flip for me.
Yeah. So maybe when we get later on in the year, and I see these teams a little bit more, I can go with a little upset pick. But yeah, I can't go. I can't go with UTEP if I don't really know anything. I see Utah State as a 6-point favorite, so I'm gonna go with Vegas here and with this one.
Oh, bro, you out here cheating, looking at the odds? What the heck?
I mean, hey,
I'm
he
going to
didn't
have
say
a gut.
we couldn't look at information here.
I'm just joking with
I was
you.
about to say, give me Utah State as well. Here, this will be a fun one for you, Austin. LSU at
Clemson.
Clemson. Okay, that's a
Clemson.
quick one. Hobbs,
Yeah.
LSU at Clemson.
So apparently the notification we got last show was a false alarm because I haven't heard anything else about it. So that doesn't sway my opinion at all that I feel highly about Clemson pulling this game off. I mean, I hope they don't make me eat my words because last year when they played Georgia, it was an absolute slaughterhouse.
Yeah.
But they're at home. I'm not a big believer in LSU this year, like other people are. So I'm going to go with Clemson on this one.
Okay. Let's make it Clemson across the board. I'll take the Clemson Tigers in this one.
Well, it's all of us versus Fred this time.
Yeah, Fred's taking LSU. So,
hey, if we're all wrong, we're never going to hear the end of it. Just so you know.
Yeah, sounds about right. I mean, so up next you have Georgia Southern taking on Fresno State in Fresno, California.
Oh, I was gonna say Georgia Southern, but Fresno hasn't, like, they've kind of had a decent season the last couple years. So are they the underdogs in this?
Fresno State is plus 1.5.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Fresno State. It's basically a coin flip, but I'm gonna go Fresno State.
And just to give you kind of an update, Austin, Fresno State is already 0-1. They played last week.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, those two.
They played
They lost to Kansas.
Oh yeah, Kansas not bad.
Kansas,
yeah, they got mauled by Kansas. Now that you said that, I remember
31-7.
Yeah.
Hey, I gotta hang on. Before you do that, I gotta respond to this since I actually know a little bit about Clemson. Fred's comment about LSU returning a quarterback and Harold Perkins. So is Clemson returning a quarterback, and they had this dude. He's a freak. I don't know if you know his name, but his name is Peter Woods. You're gonna know his name because he's gonna be probably a top 5 pick if he doesn't get injured this year. So they've got some dudes over at Clemson, and with Dabo Swinney not really going in the portal, and he's been able to keep that culture at Clemson. He's really built kind of a monster this year, I think. I don't think they're going to win the national championship. I don't even know how well they're going to do in the college football playoffs, but against LSU, who is a little bit sus to me, and I don't really like their defense, that's why I'm going with Clemson for sure.
Yeah, I mean, so, hey, look, biggest thing for me is they're at Clemson. It's at night. I think it's at night, right? 6 o'clock, maybe.
Yeah.
So
6:30.
That's the biggest thing for me. But yeah, I mean, I kind of do agree with the Klubnik being a little bit overrated, but he's still a decent quarterback compared to most in the country. So, but
did you know LSU is like 0-5 for opening games in the last 5 years?
They don't start very. As a matter of fact, when they used to play Mississippi State pretty early, Mississippi State would pretty much almost beat them sometimes and scared the living daylights out of them. So, yeah, they're not a fast starting team. Now, when they had Joe Burrow, they just ran through everybody. But yeah,
all right, kids, back to Georgia Southern, Fresno State here.
Okay, all right, I'm gonna go.
My bad.
I'm going Georgia Southern.
All right, and Austin, you said you're going Fresno?
Yeah.
All right, I'm going Fresno State as well. Move on. The 1-0 Hawaii Rainbow Warriors taking on the Arizona Wildcats
Oh, easy.
Arizona.
in Tucson.
Same, easy.
I
Yeah.
kind of got to go with you there. Hawaii's got to show me they can win more than one game by just a last minute field goal.
Yeah, I think Stanford lost that game more than Hawaii won that game. And they're not playing on the island, so it's, it's got to be Arizona.
Next up, we have the Cal Golden Bears heading to Corvallis to take on Oregon State.
This used to be a Pac-12 game, right?
Pac-2.
Right, yeah.
Right.
Since the Pac-12, was destroyed last year, I don't really know a whole lot about Oregon State right now. I know a lot about Cal because they're in the ACC and I have to cover them for Clemson. But yeah, I would. Cal is kind of, and they're playing in Corvallis. You said, so they're playing in Oregon.
Oregon State's favored by 1.5.
Yeah, I would say Oregon State. Just because. Oh, dude. No, I'm going to change it. I'm going to say Cal.
I'll change it.
Yeah.
Cal is starting a redshirt freshman quarterback.
Never mind. I'm going back over to Oregon State.
Why you I forgot all the information, right?
Right. I forgot that what's his name? Their quarterback from last year is now playing where is he? I'll look it up.
Fred says Cal lost its quarterback to Indiana and running back to Oklahoma.
Yeah. So I'm going with Oregon State.
Yeah, same
Give me
here.
the Beavers as well.
Oregon State.
Oregon State across the board. All right. Next up, the Utah Utes headed to Pasadena to take on the UCLA Bruins.
That's going to be a good one. I like that game.
UCLA plus 5.5 underdogs in Pasadena.
I'd say yes. Like if we're going over the spread, I would say no, just because I think it's going to be close. But I think Utah gets the win.
Yeah, I mean, look,
Mendoza, you're right.
Look, I really like Utah's quarterback, very experienced. Hopefully he's gone next year when we have to go there. So yeah, I like Utah a lot. I really like them a lot to make some noise in their conference too. So Utah's got a sneaky good team. So give me Utah.
I'll take the Utes as
And
well.
I hope Amaleve is watching the whole game from the bench.
Which one?
Both of them.
Continue on here. Another team, an SEC team here. This game is being played a neutral site in Atlanta, Georgia. You have the Virginia Tech Hokies taking on the South Carolina Gamecocks in the Aflac kickoff game in Mercedes-Benz. Are we going Beamer ball for the win here, boys?
Hang on.
Yeah, I got South Carolina.
South Carolina minus 7.5.
Yeah, I got them.
Touchdown favorite.
Sure.
I'm going to take South Carolina as well. What you got, Austin?
Yeah, South Carolina. They're just good. I think it's a cool story, though, having his, playing the Hokies. That's where his dad coached. So I think that's a cool little thing going on there. Yeah.
And finally, wrapping it up, in Hard Rock Stadium in Miami Gardens, you have Notre Dame headed to take on Miami, number 6 Notre Dame, number 10 Miami, clashing in Hard Rock. Notre Dame is favored by 2.5 with an over-under of 49.5.
I can't believe you're trying to go this whole time without telling us it was your birthday, Caleb.
Yeah, what's that about?
Wow. Thanks, Allison.
It's
Appreciate that.
Tomorrow. So
it's tomorrow. Okay.
That's why.
Well, happy early birthday.
Say anything.
Yeah, happy early birthday, man.
Thank you, guys.
But Notre Dame. Yeah. I don't know how good what's his face from Georgia is gonna play. I just don't. Yeah, there's just so much. He's had so much distractions since he's left Georgia. I don't know how well he's gonna do at Miami. And I'm not like Hobbs. I think Notre Dame is going to be pretty good this year. And I am a little bit.
They weren't going to be good. I just said
you weren't afraid of them.
When it comes to the Arkansas Razorbacks, we should not fear them. We should get hyped for that game. Everybody show up. Let's give our best, because we can beat them at the end of the day. If we play our best football, I believe we can beat them on our home field. I really truly believe that. Now, as far as Miami Notre Dame goes, I have not been a fan of Miami's defense. I mean, they had Cam Ward, for crying out loud, last year, and how many games they blow, their defense blow. Now, I am a believer in Notre Dame's defense. So give me Notre Dame in this game.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Irish as well. They're probably going to be like their new mascot, running the ball all over this Miami defense. So,
yeah, they definitely got an old school.
Here.
Yeah, they've got an old school feel about them.
So
I like their coach too. I like him a lot.
Yeah, Marcus Friedman. So
yeah,
as kind of a tiebreaker here, your guys' thoughts on how many total points will be scored in Ohio State versus Texas?
Oh gosh,
total points.
57.
Okay.
First game of the year. Let me go like a 27-24 game. So what's that, 51? So, yeah, let me go with 51.
All right. I'm going 52. So
that's what I was saying.
Oh, man.
We need the meteor to hit the stadium.
Yeah.
That's the win for everybody needs.
Lose. But yes,
Just
so
kidding.
We'll come back next week, see where all we ended up, how well we picked these games, and we're going to put this in as a weekly segment for this season. So as we get ready to wrap up here, anything else from you guys as we get ready for opening weekend for Arkansas and the true week one of college football this week?
Nah, just whoop big. Let's get it. I'm ready for it.
Should be a fun weekend. Football all day Saturday. Got a game on Sunday too, and hope everybody has a safe Labor Day weekend.
Exactly. Long weekend after. It'll be nice to celebrate Razorback win on that long weekend. So as we get wrapped up, don't forget to like and subscribe to the show on YouTube, Spotify, App Podcasts, wherever you get your podcast. You can find us across all social medias, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. If you're on Blue Sky, we're over there too. And so, yeah, like Hobbs said, everybody have a great long weekend, safe weekend, and a nice enjoyment of watching Razorback football that is finally back this weekend. And we'll be back on Sunday to recap everything from this weekend and, talk about these stats, talk about these games. It'll be a fun one. So everybody have a great weekend. Go cheer on the Hogs this weekend, and we'll see you guys on Sunday.